Isabella Rose grew up under the sparkling California sun in Santa Monica. Her childhood was filled with the sounds of waves crashing against the pier, the smell of sunscreen and cotton candy, and the constant hum of people chasing dreams. Her mother ran a small flower shop on Ocean Avenue, and her father was a jazz musician who could often be found playing at the local cafes. Isabella was beautiful. Beautiful in a way that was effortless. She had waves of dark hair that caught the golden light of sunset and a smile that seemed to make people pause and stare in wonder. But beyond her beauty, she was ambitious. She wanted more than the beaches and cafes of her hometown had to offer. She dreamed of writing novels that would not just sit on shelves all over the world, but truly inspire those who read them. One summer evening at a local art exhibition in downtown Los Angeles, Isabella met Daniel Hart. He wasn't from California. He was a New Yorker. He was in the city for a work project, tall, with a quiet confidence and eyes the color of storm clouds. He was different from the laid-back surfers and artists Isabella had grown up around. Their first conversation was about art, a painting of a lonely lighthouse against a violent sea. Isabella said it reminded her of resilience. Daniel said it reminded him of loss. That night, they walked out together, and for the first time, Isabella felt like she had met someone who saw the world as deeply as she did. Their relationship unfolded much like the California coastline, long, winding, breathtaking. They spent weekends driving up Pacific Coast Highway, music blasting, hair tangled in the wind. Daniel introduced her to rooftop jazz clubs. She introduced him to early morning farmers markets. He loved her free spirit. She loved the steadiness. He grounded her when her dreams carried her too high, and she gave him color in a life that had often seemed gray. By the end of the year, they were inseparable. Daniel extended his project in Los Angeles just to be with her, and Isabella began to imagine a future, not just with her books, but with him by her side. But love, as Isabella learned, is never just sunsets, rainbows, and laughter. Daniel's project ended, and New York beckoned. He asked her to come with him. Isabella was torn. Her mother's flower shop needed her. Her siblings depended on her. And California wasn't just her home. It was her inspiration, her heartbeat, her life. They tried long distance. At first, it was phone calls at midnight, care packages, surprise visits. But slowly, the time zones, the silence, the missed calls, they began to chip away at their connection. Daniel grew very frustrated at her hesitation to move. Isabella grew resentful of his insistence. One winter evening, after weeks of arguments, Daniel said words that cut her deeply. Maybe we're not meant to last. Maybe California is your only love. The breakup left Isabella hollow. She threw herself into her writing, pouring heartbreak onto paper. Her first manuscript, The Lighthouse in the Sea, was a raw, emotional story about love and distance. It was rejected over and over, but she kept revising, kept believing. Years passed. She stayed in California, watching her friends marry and move on while she remained single. She told herself she was content with her books, her family, her sunsets, but often late at night, when the waves were loud and the city was quiet, she still thought of Daniel. 10 years later, Isabella was no longer just a girl with a dream. She had become a best-selling author. Her name was known across bookstores and coffee shops. Her face appeared in interviews and magazine covers. But in her heart, she remained the same California girl who once believed in forever. At a book signing in New York, she looked up from the table, and there he was, Daniel Hart, older a little grayer, but still with those beautiful storm cloud eyes. Their reunion was quiet at first. He bought her a book. She signed it with trembling hands. When he asked her for coffee, she said yes. Over lattes in a small cafe, they filled in the missing years. Daniel had built a successful architecture firm, but had never married. He confessed he had followed her career from afar, proud, yet regretful. Isabella admitted she had written The Lighthouse and the Sea about them. He smiled sadly, saying he had known the moment he read it. It didn't take long for the spark to return, but this time they were older, wiser, gentler. They no longer fought about where home should be. Instead, they built bridges. Daniel spent months in California, and Isabella finally found herself loving New York through his eyes. On a golden summer evening with the Pacific waves crashing softly, Isabella walked barefoot down the sandy aisle. Her mother cried, her siblings cheered, and Daniel stood waiting with tears in his eyes. They exchanged vows under the California sky, promising to never let distance come between them again. Years later, Isabella sat on her porch overlooking the ocean writing her memoir. She called it The Girl from California. Her love story with Daniel wasn't perfect, but it was real. It was proof that some loves may break, may bend, may even get lost. But if it's true, it finds its way back. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, Daniel came out with 2 glasses of wine, kissed her forehead and whispered, "I'm glad California wasn't your only love after all."